gender. Hey, we're going off. Talking abortions. Rose, what you said, fam?
First of all, I'm just gonna put it there because I guess it's important. Um, well, from a religious perspective,
Okay.
I am pro-life. So,
Oh no
like,
shit. Oh, okay.
personally, my choices would, uh, my thoughts on abortion are, I mean, we should. How do I rephrase this? That
I
it's
think you
not
have to rephrase
offensive.
it.
Anyways, basically, like,
What you want to say, bro?
I relax. I wouldn't definitely say that like is a necessary evil. I mean, like we don't have to even get to the point of abortion, to reduce the world's population. I mean, there's family planning, things like that.
Mm.
But personally, in terms of like the whole abortion thing in general, yeah, like I said, I'm pro-life. I mean, because based on what we are taught and what we learn in Christianity, I mean, like abortion is like basically murder. I know. But at the same time, it's
Mm,
important to note that
I don't know if I agree with that. But go on, dude. Go on.
relax
Okay.
now. Let me land first. Well, it's important to know that like my religious bias is not it's not like a final say on like things because at the end of the day every person has a right to their own decisions, pretty much. So just because I am not for abortion doesn't mean I should impose on other people that, oh, you can't go ahead and have an abortion or something like that. I mean, even the Bible speaks to us about like choice. I mean, it says things like death and life are in the power of the tongue. I have presented before us the choice of blessing and cursing, and also like basically the implication of that is that like at the end of the day, it's all down to the individual's choice. So just because I say that, oh, I'm pro-life and everything, doesn't mean that people should be limited to their own choices, their own decisions. And the honest truth is, I mean, we see a lot of things happening, like especially surrounding the whole Roe versus Wade situation in America and all of that. And like it just shows how people don't really actually care for those who like have like unwanted pregnancies and everything. Like people are just looking to justify their religious bias by anything possible. Because tell me why you are following or you are watching a woman who is taking her child to the hospital and all of that, and you are so pressed about it to find out exactly what they are doing. I mean, what are your intentions? If you have no intention to like help the child or stuff like that. So yeah, um, I think I might have gone off tangent a little, but yeah, basically, I don't think abortion is a necessary evil. You know,
Well,
it's evil, but it's not necessary.
I do appreciate the fact that you kind of try to understand the viewpoint of another person and not like it's not a straight line when it comes to this
Yeah,
topic. Like it's never a straight line. It's not like, oh, hop on, I'm pregnant and I'm getting rid of it. Like it's never a straight line because there's so many decisions that go into like the whole process. And yeah, it's not an easy decision to make, and it's not an easy process to make. And yeah, but at the end of the day, the person still has the right to choose. Like Tito said, there is the ability for someone to make the choice, and that's the important thing. And taking that away is
yeah,
it's insane because I think the way we look at abortion will probably be like very. I think people look at it in the system like in a system like, oh, like she goes to the hospital, has her legs raised up, and I'm just like, this process is old as time. Like people were drinking herbal drinks or teas or different things for the longest time. People have gone through the
to get rid
unsafe
of
the child, and people have gone through like very unsafe methods. And the process right now isn't still the safest method. People have tried pills and different things, and there isn't one way to doing this, and there isn't just one what do you call it? There isn't just one thought when you arrive this decision. It's not like getting rid of this baby. I don't want it simple. It's never that simple. Like there are a lot of chaotic things going on around you, and like for you to arrive at that decision. Yeah.
Rules and I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like if you were born into a society where there wasn't already pro-choice, so forget like Nigeria, because I don't think Nigeria is pro-choice, but if let's say all the countries in the world pro-choice didn't exist, it was just pro-life, right? If you have a baby, you have to keep it. Do you think you would still have a similar point of view in the sense of people being forced to keep unwanted pregnancies and those kind of things, or do you think you would just accept that that's just how it is?
I don't think I would accept that as how it is. Then again, like I'm heavily from like I'm from a very, very religious home, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't necessarily opt for that decision. Like it depends. So I don't know what I would be in, what situation I would be in the future. So I wouldn't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing it." But like if um if I was in that context like you described, I probably wouldn't accept it, because then again, when you don't allow people to do something, they always look for alternatives. So prior to the US and the UK becoming like pro-choice countries, you would see that there were backdoor clinics that were doing this abortion. Some were pretty good and some were less good. And you would see young girls or older women dying. And there was this quote and hanger method. Basically, they would use a hanger to bring out the baby. It was not the safest method. And then you had like clinics that were intentional about saving lives and were offering the services secretly. And I think that was recent, to be fair. That was like less than 20 years ago in the south of US. And basically they got called out for they
Mhm.
they wanted to ban the clinic, but basically it was something that was necessary, because it was something that was a need or something that was in demand. And when you notice, when something is in demand and you do not supply, people tend to find other routes, and they don't care what the route is. They just want to get rid of it. So yeah, really just yeah, I think even in a different context, I would still have um this mindset towards the topic. Yeah.
You know, why I asked initially is because I guess for a lot of religious people, right, the
Mm-hmm.
idea is God doesn't make mistakes. So whatever laws or rules he has in place, there's a reason behind it, and that would extend to abortion. Because in my religion, in your religion, it's the same ruling for the most part. There's limited
Yeah.
circumstances in which abortion is allowed, but for the most part, like you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So if someone becomes pregnant through unwanted means, surely from a
Yeah.
religious perspective, that must mean that God intended for that to happen, right?
Um, I would say yes and no. I would say yes and
Expand.
no. Um, so if I'm trying to like, okay, so I'm going to use another like topic to compare, like, if you are, um, how do I describe it? So if you get married today or tomorrow, whatever time you do get married, and you're not ready for a child with your partner, people take
Mhm.
steps to prevent pregnancies in their marriage, which is still also not accepted by
withdrawal method.
religion. Yeah, like it's still not
Wait, really?
accepted. Yeah, it isn't. I think
Wait.
it isn't. Like it
You
isn't,
mean like
because
condom?
yeah, it isn't. If you like,
Who said that?
if you fully gauge the whole thing, people will tell you that this. I think up until recently, I'm not too sure, but there was this particular I don't know whether to call it a church, but basically so many people of the Christian faith are of the opinion, or like maybe the older school, because if you notice with like newer schools, they try to stay with the trend, or they try to stay on top of trends. But with the older school, you would see that they would say like, why are you preventing what God is giving to you? Yeah, so if you're gauging it like that, it's almost it's almost like that. Like I've heard like a couple of times. I've heard it a couple of times. Because
I mean, but have you seen it? I mean, I'm not the best person of reference, but I don't think it says anywhere in the Bible. I mean, I could be wrong, Rose. That's on you. But I don't think it says anywhere in the Bible that you can't use contraceptive. What? That doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, but like there was nothing in the Bible about like abortion as well.
Yeah, but there's more things that imply it though. So I mean, so basically, when you're married, you always have to be like, you have to go in raw. That's what?
But that does not even equate to having a child, like having an abortion. Like it doesn't equate. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like how people like. Okay, now how would I describe it? Like when it comes to like preachings and like doctrines in churches and other religions as well. You would see like there's some things that are not basically put in the Bible, but like it still shapes religion. Like if you notice the way someone dresses within the Christian faith or within Christendom, you would notice that you can distinctively say, oh, I know this person is deeper life, or I know this person is MFM by the way they dress. I go to MFM by the way. So like so you would know like some people will say, oh, by the way they dress, you can like see like this is that. And basically you will notice it's not the same thing across like the Christian faith. I don't know whether it's the same for you, Kamal, but like basically there was nothing about dressing in the Bible. There
Actually,
is like
there is though.
Yeah, but it's like you saying that a man cannot put on a woman's garment, but like what is a woman's garment in this century compared to what Jesus' century was like, and what was a man's garment then? There was nothing practicing safe sex in the Bible, was there? No. But be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply implies have children, but like the extent of what you would have, like there is
Bible homes having kids, bro.
there isn't any like okay, so I think you guys need to reduce how you guys are having kids. I think you guys should like practice safe methods, but like there was nothing about it. So like there was nothing about abortion as well. So like it's the Christian like I wouldn't say Christian faith. I would just say religion sometimes it's not heavy. I don't say anything that sounds weird, but like there are some things that we practice in our faith, but like isn't implied in the religious.
I 100% come along with you on that one.
It's not expressly stated in the scripture.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
No, that's facts. Yeah. But the abortion one, that one, there's like Kamal said, there's more grounds for that one. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. That's just or let me just so I get you right. Are you saying that if you're married and you're doing the thing with your wife and you're wearing contraceptive, it's a sin? Is that what you're saying?
I said at one point in time it was considered a sin, not like
even when
in
you're
churches. Yeah, not in churches. I did read on this. I wouldn't let me confirm a minute, but I do know I've heard about this. I have heard about this, but this was not recent. This was like really old, and now you have like I think as the world evolves, things evolves. So like people were just having kids at one point in time. Now people are trying to control how they have kids. And I think I'm just gonna say think, or what's the word someone says when they don't want to be called out for what they said, because I'm not 100% sure.
Hypothetically speaking.
No, that's like a word. I'm thinking about it. When you don't want to be quoted on something, but you're really sure.
Well, yeah, just say skill said it.
Yeah, skill said it. but there was really I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm pretty firm on that there was really a time like Christian, not in Christian faith, but generally like preventing a child from coming forth was almost seen as a taboo. I wouldn't say a sin, I would say taboo, more like you shouldn't be doing it. Like you should be having kids because God has expressly told you to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah.
Do you have any comments on the whole it being God's plan?
I'm sorry.
The honest truth.
Sorry,
To me, go ahead.
I got the word allegedly.
Oh, okay. Allegedly. Sounding like Kamal now.
No.
I'm just trying to ensure someone doesn't take me for what I'm saying.
They are different. Have you guys by any chance played the game? Oh, not even that safe. You guys know where you guys have played some of these games where like you can make different decisions. And each decision has its implication. Basically, what that implies is that like for every single decision that you make, there's a consequence. So I feel like that's pretty much how it is. So we human beings, we've been given like a free will. Like God has given us free will, so like we can do whatever it is we decide to do, whatever it is we choose to do. So there's probably like this large spectrum that if we make certain decisions, this would be the outcome. I know. So peradventure, let's say you didn't plan on having. They go, what?
I haven't heard that one in a while. Like I'm sorry.
Okay. So like peradventure, like you and someone, you and your wife now, you don't plan on having another child, but just say maybe that night the Netflix was banging, the chips was banging, wine was banging.
And you had to go in raw, by the way, because if not, it's a taboo. Facts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like you just happen to find out like, oh, your wife is pregnant. I know. And you decide to keep the baby, even though you didn't have an intention to do so. Because of that choice that was made, like that child definitely comes into the picture. So there's always be an implication for having that child. So in the grand scheme of things, that child would eventually have their own purpose, even though like you didn't initially plan for them. And I know this might also be it's one thing I confess, it's something that I have not been able to wrap my head around, because even yesterday, I was reading my devotional, but I feel like every situation, every circumstance, both the good and the bad, God has a way of working them together to work together for our good. And personally, like, it's something I still find hard to deal with. Like, you see people lose their loved ones. You see people experience different kinds of losses. I mean, like, on face value, like, it's hard for someone to tell you that don't worry, God has a plan in all of this. I mean, like, that's not something that person wants to hear in the moment. I know, but I guess it's something that with time we eventually grow to believe, even though it's not everyone, because I mean those certain moments they could be breaking points for people who were probably religious and all, and just decided that, look, this at this point again, I don't think I'm doing this religion P because of the circumstances they faced. And also yeah, that's how I see it, Sha.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any actual thoughts on the prompt itself, the necessary evil thing, because, well, my first question is, what were you trying to reduce the population for? Like, is there a reason why why we have to reduce the population? But like,
yeah, global warming, that's enough reason.
I think like at this point in time, can it really be reduced? I think we can just control it, because you can't just go like slashing people out of population. Yeah. You can just control it. You can't really reduce it.
It's only gonna go up from here, so there's no reducing the population. But if you say necessary evil, then I guess that's when we get into the whole pro-choice, pro-life thing. Well, because for some people, an evil could be considered having a child through rape or something like that. Then you say that's an evil that happened to them, and this is the byproduct of it. So is abortion necessary to prevent something like that? And if that's the case, well, it becomes an individual basis. As Rose and to me have said, they're religious, they're Christian, and abortion isn't allowed in Christianity. I'm Muslim, it's the same thing for us. Very limited circumstances. Like most of it has to do with harm to the mother, and then having medical backing before you do it. So the sort of like roadside abortions and those sorts of things isn't allowed in Islam. And I don't think even the through rape or through something like that is allowed in Islam. It has to be something like harm to the mom for you to say abortion.
So come on, you're pro-life.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, I'm similar to Rose, and to me, like, in my own life, this is how I would do things. There's a reason why they say don't even have sex before marriage in both religions, right? It's because of things like this. Because if you're in a marriage, for the most part, most people aren't gonna be like they're trying to have kids to begin with anyway. So the concept of abortion or the necessity of abortion is highly reduced. Most people that get abortions that I know of is mostly because they're young, because obviously you are young. So most people that I know are our age. They're young and they're not ready to have kids, and they were having sex before marriage. And so they got pregnant, and then they got an abortion because they're not ready to have kids. Whereas if you did follow what the Bible or the Quran and everything said, if you're in a marriage, you're likely a lot older, you're likely able to provide, and most people do want kids. So the necessity of abortion just drastically reduces just off that. So yeah, for my own life, I would say I'm pro-life. But like Rose said, you can't really use your own personal beliefs to like impose on everyone else. But at the same time, isn't that what politics kind of is? So all the MPs, all the senators, governors, presidents, like they all have their ideologies, and they believe their ideologies is the right way to do things. So if you're a Republican, you're going to be pro-life. If you're a Democrat, you're going to be pro-choice, right? So essentially, it's your own personal beliefs that you're trying to impose on a whole nation because you think your beliefs are right. So for us that have beliefs that come from God in this case, and you feel like God is all-knowing and doesn't make mistakes, why should a ruling that God imposed or God said not be imposed on everyone else if God is all-knowing, right? That's how I think religiously you should think of it. So some of the questions I ask them is because this is a dilemma that a lot of people have, including me, in the sense that I'm pro-life, but you don't want to impose on everyone else. But at the same time, if you're pro-life and it comes from religion and you feel God knows best, then it should be imposed on everyone else because God knows best, right? Like that's kind of how it should go. So it's like it's a dicey one, but yeah, I'm kind of similar to them. But Skills, where you at?
All right. Well, first of all, fuck them kids, nigga. What you think this was, boy? What you thought we talking about, bro? Fuck them kids.
I just knew that that's what girls say.
Fuck them kids, bro. Hey,